So let's go beyond the what do you do question, okay? Because the first time you meet somebody, they will ask you, what do you do? If you meet them like a week later, they may have forgotten what you do and they may say, remind me of what you do. And you could use your best test against again, if you need to. But what happens after somebody does know what you do and starts to get to know you, then when you meet with them again or bump into them or set up a meeting with them just to, let's catch up, it's, what's up? What's new with you? How have you been? And again, a lot of times, sometimes those conversations they're conversations looking for some substance, but they're conversations that, what's new with you? Not much. How about you? Well, not much. Going on vacation next week. Oh, wow, I need a vacation too. We should get together sometime. And that's the end of the conversation. When somebody says, how are you? How have you been? What's new in your world? It's the ideal time to tell a short story. So I'm going to read to you a short story. This is an actual real life example from the founder of Contacts Count, Lynn Wayman. And so this is something that she actually said to a colleague. And I'm going to read the story. And as I read it, jot down what you learn about Lynn. So this was someone she knew pretty well. And they said, so Lynn, what's new with you? And Lynn said, I have to tell you about a really challenging training experience I had last week. When I walked into the hotel conference room in Seattle, where I was going to teach a 3-day negotiation skills course, I was so happy to see that it had floor-to-ceiling windows looking out over the bay. But within the first hour, I realized everybody, including me, couldn't take their eyes off the water. I could feel a longing to be out there on the bay. So that night, I negotiated with a boat company that takes people to Victoria and back. And for the next 2 days, we had our class on the boat. People were so grateful to be on the water that they worked very hard. We had a really successful learning experience, and they enjoyed strolling around the boat during their breaks and actually having lunch on the deck. What did that story teach you about Lynn? What did you learn about Lynn?
Empathetic, and she overcomes obstacles creatively.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
She could read the room and could adapt quite easily to what she saw.
Yeah. Anything else?
Someone says that she's observant.
Observant, right?
She's a successful negotiator.
Yep. She's obviously she's going to teach negotiation skills. So and that story takes about 40 seconds, maybe 45 seconds. So in 45 seconds, you got a real sense of, who at least one aspect of who Lynn is and some of the traits or qualities that she possesses. Now, obviously, that's a one-time story, but as you're developing a relationship with someone else and you say, what's new, what's up with you, what's going on, and they're communicating different stories or examples or things that's happened in their life, you're learning more and more about them. And this particular story follows a particular sequence of events. And so we try to get people to think about creating these stories following this formula. So we call it a 5S model because everything's with an S. The transition to the story, the segue. What's the situation? What's the snafu? Situation, normal, all fouled up. What's the solution to the problem? And then what's the significance? And so you can use this formula to, again, communicate something about what's going on in your life and also, teach other people about who you are and what some of your qualities are. And by the way, this same formula can be used in any type of interview you're in. Think about using this formula when someone says, tell me about the most challenging, project you've ever worked on. So the transition into it, briefly describe the situation, what the problem was, how you solved it, and what the outcomes were. That was the most, that's the challenging assignment. So I'm going to read Lynn's story again, only this time I'm going to specify each one of these. So what's new with you, Lynn? Segue. Well, I have to tell you about a really challenging training experience. Situation. When I walked into the hotel conference room, floor to ceiling windows, snafu, but within the first hour, I realized everybody couldn't take their eyes off the water. Solution, negotiated with the boat company, take us back and forth to Victoria. Significance, people were so grateful to be on the water. We had a great learning experience. They enjoyed strolling along the boat. So it's a pretty simple storytelling formula that you can use to, like I said, have these stories prepared. And even if you don't have a story prepared, when someone asks you, what's up, what's new, how have you been? Even if you don't have a story prepared, tell them about something that's going on in your life, okay? Just to let them know more about who you are. Tell them about the vacation you just took. Tell them about the fact that my teenage daughter is about to start the whole college application process. And boy, I didn't realize what a challenge this was. Whatever it is that's going on in your life. Because by doing that, again, they're learning something about you. So if your teenage son his daughter is going through the college application process, I can tell you about the process that my two kids went through and what I learned and what I did wrong and, things that really made a difference to making the right decision. But if you don't have that conversation, then somebody giving you information on the college application process, you don't get it. And so, like I said, being willing to be open and use this formula whenever somebody's asking you those types of questions. Now, we don't have time in tonight's session to actually have you write a story and then practice it, but I would encourage you to start to do that. And again, if you're in transition, you may have already used either this formula or something very similar to prepare your questions for any interview that you go to. So,
Vern.
Yeah, no, right.
I was just going to say the other part about sharing information is using this formula, you are establishing a human connection. And that's the thing that most everybody will connect to.
Yes, that's right. Something that's going on in your life and, either, how thrilling it was with the vacation you were on or how challenging it is helping your kid go through this college process. It tells the other person something about you in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. So don't miss those opportunities to teach people, again, something about yourself.